Was this fresh or old? What actually happened here? Maybe it was an animal. Maybe something got a kill out here, or something got hurt and just ran.
The wilderness can turn a dream trip into a nightmare in a heartbeat. From watching your only lifeline burn to ashes in a desolate desert, to the terrifying crack of a poacher's bullet narrowly missing your head, these are the moments where every second counts. When your survival is pushed to the absolute edge, would you have the steel to stay calm, or would you let the darkness swallow you whole? On September 17th, 2018, a solo camper from the YouTube channel Coyote Works, known for documenting off-road camping and remote travel, heads into the isolated desert east of Bend, Oregon. The trip begins as a routine journey. Everything feels quiet and controlled until a camping encounter unfolds and the one thing keeping him alive out there suddenly becomes the problem. The trip begins along Highway 20 east of Bend, Oregon. He makes a brief stop at a small roadside store before heading deeper into the desert. The plan is simple: drive into a remote area, explore, and set up camp for the night. Soon he reaches Glass Buttes, a wide-open landscape known for its volcanic rock and scattered remains of old settlements. He leaves the main road and follows a dirt trail, searching for an abandoned homestead. After some time, he finds it. Broken wooden structures, old metal parts, and the remains of what once stood there over 100 years ago.
I just found my first sign of what looks like some homesteading or something up in this little draw, and this is super cool. All right, this is pretty cool right here. This is, I walked just a little ways. I may be 50 yards from the homestead down there. And this was an old barn, or the remnants of an old barn. And right up behind me here, there's a bunch of chicken wire. So I know there was a chicken coop up there.
The area is quiet with no one else around. While walking through the ruins, he suddenly hears a rattling sound close to his feet. A rattlesnake is hidden under loose boards. He steps back carefully and avoids getting too close.
There's a rattlesnake underneath these boards somewhere. I don't know if the camera can hear it buzzing every once in a while. It's a little one.
He returns to the vehicle and continues driving toward a more remote camping area. The terrain becomes more difficult, and at one point, the road comes to an end. He turns around and spends nearly 2 hours trying to find the correct path.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned out here. So I ran into a dead end. I couldn't get through on the road that got me to the area where I wanted to go. So I've turned around and backtracked for about 2 hours. Well, I think I might have told you guys earlier that I was going to try to roll into camp a little early tonight. But I decided not to disappoint you guys. And in my typical fashion, I'm going to go ahead and roll into camp after dark, it looks like.
Time is running late, and he decides to keep moving even as it gets dark. Later, he stops to open a gate along the trail. As he steps out of the Jeep, something feels off. Smoke is rising from under the hood. He opens it and sees that something is already burning. He quickly grabs a fire extinguisher and tries to put it out, but the fire spreads faster than expected.
A fire extinguisher, and I used both my fire extinguisher and a couple of gallons of water trying to put out the fire. As soon as I opened the hood, flames started coming up from the back of the motor. It looked like they were originating between the rear of the motor and the firewall. I continued spraying my fire extinguisher on the flames until it was empty. A few seconds after my fire extinguisher ran dry, as I was standing there looking at the Jeep, the flames flared back up again.
God damn it, it's still going.
So I ran around to the back of the Jeep and I grabbed a couple of gallon containers of water, came back to the front and started splashing water on top of the flames. And again, after doing that for a few minutes, it seemed like I had the flames somewhat under control. And they were somewhat under control in the engine compartment. But what I didn't quite realize yet is they had already started to spread through the firewall and were burning inside the dash, inside the passenger compartment of the vehicle.
Within minutes, flames move through the engine area and into the cabin. The fire grows stronger. Water and the extinguisher are not enough. He realizes the vehicle cannot be saved. He immediately switches focus. Instead of trying to stop the fire on the Jeep, he starts removing essential supplies, food, water, survival gear. Then he grabs a shovel and begins clearing the ground around the burning vehicle, creating a fire line to stop the flames from spreading into the dry grass. For nearly 2 hours, he works alone in the dark, digging and managing the fire as best as he can.
So I was trying to cut a fire line around this side, but
I spent almost 2 hours intermittently fighting range fires and trying to cut fire line in around the Jeep. If a range fire gets started out here, it'll burn for 16,000 acres before it stops.
all right, guys. Well, this is why you always want to be prepared. So I don't know how long I'm going to be out here. I pretty much got to sit here and watch this thing burn. I can't take a chance on it getting out of control and starting a range fire off. That's my first priority. Second priority will be getting a little camp set up and getting as comfortable as I can for the night. I got everything that I need to survive. I've got water, food. I grabbed my phone. I don't have any way to charge my phone, so I'm gonna have to be careful about the battery on it.
I was able to send a track using my Gaia GPS app to a friend of mine who was then able to get into my location and retrieve me. So I did make it home safe and sound early the next morning, minus one very charred, crispy Jeep Rubicon.
The Jeep continues to burn beside him. Eventually, the fire is contained within a small area. The surrounding land is safe, but the vehicle is completely destroyed. By the end of the night, only the metal frame of the Jeep remains. Everything inside is gone, including personal items like his wallet and identification. He is left in a remote desert without transportation and with very limited resources, waiting for help that will not arrive until days later. In a camping encounter like this, staying calm allows him to think clearly, act quickly, and focus on what matters most: survival and preventing something worse. Without that control, small decisions could have led to much bigger consequences. When everything starts to go wrong out there, would you stay calm or lose control? Hunter harassment is more common than many people realize, and for these hunters, the situation escalated within seconds. The footage was later uploaded to the YouTube channel Flatline Fowl on September 10th, 2022. They headed out early for a morning of goose hunting, and at first everything went as expected. They had already harvested a goose when a man suddenly appeared in the distance, shouting and closely watching their actions.
So, little morning update here. 6:50, we got the first flock come in, put him down pretty good. He's a little unhappy apparently, and he already was giving us problems this morning before we even set up in the dark. He owns half-acre land that isn't this. We have permission from the farmer to be here. We're trying to get a hold of NCON here for harassment, so because we're not taking this year. Normally, it happens all the time. Try to stay legal, and then people that think they know what's going on. Had enough of it. River's trying to make some phone calls over there.
And trying to fire ECO officers' numbers so we can get her out here.
But yeah, so stay tuned. Could get spicy.
All right. We got a.
We're not confiscating our birds.
We heard what she said.
What?
What'd she say?
We're not confiscating her birds. That's illegal.
There you heard that. He just.
Good job, boss.
Don't shut up. Shut up.
Believing they were fully within their rights, they attempted to contact a game warden to report the harassment. Instead of stepping away, the man became more aggressive. He waved his arms to scare geese off and deliberately tried to interfere with the hunt. Soon, others joined him. The shouting intensified, the behavior grew increasingly hostile, and eventually threats were made, including death threats. Police were called. When officers arrived, the hunters presented their licenses, identification, and proof of permission to be on the property.
Not for just goose hunting.
Who owns the property?
The property?
Anybody I know who owns it.
Yeah.
Anybody here associated with? Okay.
I went and talked to him last night and he said yes.
And
go ahead.
it's your understanding who's the property owner? Yes. Okay. That's what they indicated.
Yep.
He lives down there?
Yeah, he lives right at the end of this road. You take a right on the left. Yep.
Sharon. You were going to have this many people with you, or?
I asked him for goose hunting and he didn't say anything about having a limited number of people.
Obvious. All right. So, I'm not busting balls.
Yeah.
What time was the first shot?
6:50. We have it all on film. I think we had 4 cameras rolling.
He was yelling at us since 5 o'clock this morning when we were setting decoys.
Since 5?
He was yelling
How
at
many
us.
birds have you guys killed?
We
11?
shot 11.
11.
And
How many are you allowed to take?
the limit is 15 per person.
Per person?
Yes.
All right.
For early
I'm not
season.
up on that NCON shit.
Yeah, we've been calling them all morning.
as soon as he started yelling at us this morning, I notified my one buddy who's an econ officer, and he said, all right, just keep me updated.
And we've been calling.
And then he just said, is anything else? Call the regions. We call the regions.
Is it just you two, or
everyone?
No, not everybody. Yeah. At the end of the season road down here. Yeah, right there. Right there. Yeah. Yep. Right at the end of it. Kill us. We have it all on camera.
Harassment. Every time the birds were flying around, he was screaming at the birds. Just hunter's harassment.
He threatened to kill you.
Yeah, I have guys that'll come here, rip every one of your faces off, and kill every last one of you. Yeah, we film everything, so we do everything.
After reviewing the footage, police determined that the hunters were acting legally and responsibly. The hunt ended not long after. What remained, however, was more than simple frustration. It was the unsettling realization that harassment can escalate quickly, and once threats are made, there is no way to predict how far someone may be willing to take it. Leon was riding his quad through the woods when something immediately caught his attention. Attached to a tree was an illegal deer stand, clear evidence of poaching. The situation already felt off, but what followed nearly turned deadly.
We get all down through here. Now, if this were a survival situation, I'd have a shotgun with me and just ride right through this kind of stuff. You will kick up growl, every other kind of crazy stuff. Little birds, big birds. I would dare say there are wild turkeys somewhere around here. Whoa! Whoa! Don't shoot! Huh? Huh? Oh, I was just riding. Okay, I'll get out right now. Okay, all right. Am I on? Is this your private property? Get the fuck out of here. Okay, I'm leaving.
Without any warning, a shot suddenly rang out through the trees. The round passed dangerously close, cutting through the air above the sound of his engine. Leon stopped, set his camera down, and made sure he was visible, keeping his shotgun within reach. He later said the suspected poacher fired in his direction, acted suspiciously, and at one point aimed his firearm at him 3 separate times. Leon demanded the man identify himself, but the individual refused to respond. One thing is clear, firing without properly identifying a target is reckless, and in this case, it came dangerously close to costing someone their life. The actions captured on camera make the encounter even more disturbing, raising doubts about whether the shot was truly accidental. Do you think this was a mistake or something more intentional? The video comes from Cabin Life, a channel that documents off-grid living wilderness travel and real-life cabin experiences in remote environments. It is February 24th, 2026. This unsettling wilderness encounter began in a remote snow-covered area of Ontario, Canada. After returning to the cabin from checking a trail camera, the team came across a moose and her calf resting directly along the path. The snow is waist-deep, daylight is fading, and movement is already limited. In conditions like this, changing direction becomes difficult. They stop immediately, realizing they have entered the animal's space.
Waiting to see if Mama Moose and her calf is going to be moving on. She was having a little rest there, and we really didn't want to bother her. When we started approaching a little bit too close, we noticed her ears were going back, and the body language was telling us, okay, that's close enough. We thought maybe she'd leave, but no. So anyway, we decided let her rest, and we'll go do something else for a while.
The moose is now clearly visible up close, her size becoming more apparent as her posture shifts, ears pinned back and focused forward. With a calf present, defensive behavior becomes more likely. The team begins to move sideways, slowly avoiding any direct approach toward her. The moose then starts moving along the same path in their direction. With the deep snow restricting both speed and movement, stepping off the trail becomes the only option. The situation grows more tense. In such a limited space, even a single aggressive move could quickly lead to serious consequences.
Hang on, make sure she's not coming. I figure the best thing to do at this point is, if she's coming, give her the room and let her walk right down the path past us.
She's gonna stay up there with her baby.
Well, she was coming.
Was she?
Yeah. Now what do I do? I guess I gotta go back to see if how far she advanced down the path.
Later, the moose blocks the path, completely cutting off access back to the cabin. This forces the team to wait, as in remote conditions like this, there are no alternative routes, only patience. The situation turns into a temporary standoff, rather than a confrontation. This situation wasn't really about the animal attacking, but more about positioning. There was no direct danger at first, but with deep snow-low visibility and a mother animal protecting her calf, things could turn risky very quickly. The team handled it by slowing down, giving the animal space, and avoiding any sudden movements, which helped prevent the situation from escalating. Sometimes it's not about what the animal does, but where you are when you encounter it. So if you were there, would you stay put or try to move? The next video comes from Raznik Outdoors, a US-based adventure channel that focuses on solo trips into remote wilderness, combining first-person exploration with local history and environmental awareness. It is January 31st, 2026, in the Appalachian Mountains, United States, in the Linville Gorge area of North Carolina. The Appalachian landscape is known for its dense forests, deep valleys, and rugged terrain, but those same features also make it difficult to navigate. It's easy for hikers to lose their way if they don't pay close attention to the differences between trails and landmarks. All of these factors together create a serious risk, where one small mistake could leave someone stranded in a place that is very difficult to escape. The terrain is rough and challenging for search and rescue, and in this area, it can take days to locate someone.
And the majority of the trails out here are completely unmarked. My footprints are the only footprints on this trail. I am completely alone out here. All of these factors added together creates this terrifying thought that one mistake, that's it. You're stuck out here. You're probably never going home. Like I said, these mountains are almost impassable. The Linville Gorge in North Carolina is really bad about this. It's one of Appalachia's most rugged terrains. People go missing out there. It takes days to find them. And most of the time, they're not found alive.
As he moves deeper into the forest, he begins to notice more unusual things. Scattered throughout the area are old iron mining sites with abandoned shafts and cave systems hidden among the trees. Many of them are unmarked and partially concealed, making them dangerous and easy to overlook. Stepping off the trail in a place like this adds even more risk, as the ground can be unstable and hidden openings may be nearby.
I've had friends that have seen unexplained things. I've heard stories from family of feral people up in these hollers. And people have lived in these mountains for hundreds of years, and their stories still live today. Go to the Linville Gorge in North Carolina, there's the Brown Mountain Lights, which is an unexplained phenomenon that has existed for thousands of years. Even the local natives in the area reported seeing these lights floating above the mountains. So when the scientists came over in the 1900s and were like, oh, well, these are just lights from cars across the valley, or train lights, or planes, that doesn't explain it, because the natives have been seeing these lights far before the settlers even came over here. Now back to the feral people, this kind of piggybacks off what I said about the caves and kind of goes on to the theory is that there's feral people living in these mountains, kidnapping people and taking them into the caves. I mean, like I said, these mountains are so thick that even a rabbit can hardly get off the trail sometimes. So who's to say way back in the backcountry, way out in the hollers, there's not these feral people or wild humans living there? So what is it about these mountains that seems to draw so much attention? Well, the fact of the matter is, they're rugged, they're remote, they're dangerous, they're old as time itself, they're full of history and folklore.
He has also heard strange sounds in the woods, along with similar stories shared by others. Local accounts describe unusual sightings and strange events over time. The region has a long history, and these stories have been passed down through generations. There are also reports of mysterious lights in the mountains that have been seen for many years. These lights were observed long before modern explanations were suggested. There are also theories about people living deep in the mountains in areas that are extremely remote and difficult to access. The forest is so dense that leaving the trail becomes very difficult. The mountains are known for being rugged, remote, and dangerous, as well as for their history, and the stories connected to them. Even though the area looks beautiful, it can feel unsettling. There may not be any clear disturbing wilderness encounter captured on camera, but it's clear that this environment still carries real risks for anyone hiking or camping here. With terrain and conditions like this, would you want to explore a place like this yourself? The shocking video comes from Unqualified Outdoorsman, a UK-based outdoor adventure channel focused on hiking bushcraft and real-time family experiences in remote environments. It is March 29th, 2026, in a remote woodland area in the United Kingdom. A father and son set out on a quiet hike through snowy woods, planning to stop and cook along the way. The area seems calm at first, but small details begin to stand out, like abandoned decorations, a makeshift shelter, and uneven ground. On their own, these things don't seem unusual, but together, they start to feel a little off. They find a glove and decide to leave it where it is. Not long after, they notice a knife, but choose not to touch it.
Do I leave it there?
Free glove? I'm just gonna leave it.
Then a knife.
Oh, a knife?
Yeah, it's a knife. No, leave that there, man.
While getting ready to start a fire, they spot someone standing among the trees. The person remains still, partly hidden by the surroundings. With the light fading and visibility getting worse, it's hard to tell how far away he is or what he's doing. The way he doesn't move makes it seem like he's there on purpose. The situation quickly starts to feel more unsettling when they notice blood nearby. There's enough of it to make them wonder what might have happened.
This is actually...
And that's when we saw it. Blood. I just stood there for a second, trying to figure out what I was even looking at. Was this fresh or old? What actually happened here? Maybe it was an animal. Maybe something got a kill out here. Or something got hurt and just ran off. But it didn't feel like that. There was just too much. And then my mind started going somewhere else.
As they begin heading back, the man starts walking toward them. The uncertainty grows as they prepare for what could turn into a confrontation.
Whoa! We saw him. The same old man. But this time, he was walking towards us. My heart dropped. After everything we had just seen, the blood, the knife, nothing about this felt right. My mind started racing. Does he know we saw it? Were we not supposed to find that? Why is he coming straight at us?
When they finally speak to him, they find out he's the landowner. He's legally hunting in the area, and the glove knife and blood are all connected to that. The situation is quickly explained, and the tension drops once everything becomes clear. In the end, it felt frightening, not because something dangerous was actually happening, but because of how it looked. Seeing the knife, the blood, and the man made it easy to imagine something worse. When you're alone in a place like this, your mind can quickly jump to the wrong conclusion. So if you were there, would you stay calm or start thinking something wasn't right? The final video of the night comes from Holy Swole Outdoors, a US-based adventure channel focused on physically demanding hikes and real-time backcountry experiences. It is March 21st, 2026 in Oregon, United States. But this trip into the remote wilderness carried a very different atmosphere.
What's that? What's that? Do you hear that? I don't think it's that crazy. Did you not hear that? Did you kick something down? I don't think so. So he ran down this trail and I just heard something crash like over here in the bushes, but it sounded like something running. The worst thing is a mountain lion or a bear. A summer climb here would be really cool, but it'd be hot. This is a nice night for it. Kelvin, well, I just checked the map. We still have like 3 or 4 miles up just to the top. We can always just turn back around. Psych, you thought. My calves are literally about to seize up. Like, there's a slight incline and the breeze started picking up.
It's gonna be cold tonight, guys.
Yeah, but that feels amazing. Holy steep. What? Don't do that to, oh, nah.
A sudden movement breaks the silence, and the hikers stop immediately. Intense woodland sound can travel in unpredictable ways, but how close it seems suggests something is moving nearby, rather than far away. Without seeing anything, the source remains unknown, creating uncertainty rather than immediate danger.
A deer or a bear or something. What is that? Something was over there. I was checking maps and big crashing noise. I don't know. I think we're in one of the campsites. Oh yeah, we are.
All right, guys, let's camp. We'll call it a day today, guys.
I mean, we could almost. No, we gotta keep going. I'm so dehydrated.
More faint sounds echo through the forest, and with the limited visibility, each noise feels more significant. The surroundings feel active, even though nothing can be clearly seen. The hikers pause often, choosing to listen instead of continuing forward. As they move along the trail, fatigue and darkness begin to affect their awareness. Their pace slows down, and staying focused becomes necessary to maintain control. As they get closer to finishing the loop, they remain cautious. This hike is shaped by buildup rather than a single moment. Darkness, fatigue, rough terrain, and nearby movement all overlap. Each one alone can be managed, but together they become more demanding. There's no direct encounter yet, the environment never fully feels calm. In conditions like this, where visibility is low and sound becomes the main guide, uncertainty is what keeps the tension going until the end. Sometimes it's not about seeing something clearly, but how everything feels around you. So If you were there, would you keep going or turn back? That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.